Do you ever feel like there's not enough time to do what you want to do in a day? And then you find something new and end up hyper-focusing on that, and then everything else just kind of disappears. Hey there, I'm a small streamer on Twitch who sometimes likes to make stuff. I had a goal on my channel that once I hit 100 followers, I would create a goth mode toggle for my VTuber model. Great news, I recently hit that. Bad news is I got my 100th follower on a Thursday. Between work and life, this left me with about 24 hours free to work on the model before my next stream on that Saturday. So I did what anyone would do. I started watching live 2D tutorials at work and seeing how I could swap out my current model with a new version. It was then that I realized I had made a huge mistake. You see, I made my current model, and I thought I could just swap out the art and reuse the rig, which would be doable if I had rigged it correctly. But I didn't. I rigged everything directly on the art layers and had avoided deformers like the blade. Live 2D Cubism uses these things called deformers that you can attach the art to and then use those to animate. Think of it like a marionette. The deformers are the strings you're moving and the puppet, or art, is left unharmed. These deformers are fantastic because you can attach new art at any time and it will still follow that animation you set. But I didn't do that. I animated this like it was a sock puppet and I was trying to squeeze the life out of it. I had a big brain moment and decided to completely re-rig my entire model before adding the goth mode. Clean slate, it would be better in the long run. I'll link the tutorial that I used down in the description below. I found it incredibly helpful and would have been so lost without it. That said, there are many wonderful resources for this program, so don't be afraid to do some Googling and find what works best for you. Start the timer! I was home by 6 PM and ready to work. I did a little bit of cleanup on my art and figured out what I actually wanted to do for the goth mode. I took my old rig, threw it in the trash, and imported the new art as a completely new live 2D model, Clover 2.2. I started working on the eye and then got to bed. 3 hours down, 37 hours before stream. I get up. Dark and gloomy in the morning because it is 3 AM and I have 5 hours before work. I finish the eye, mirror it, and mess around with it until it looks right. I work on the head rotations and spend more time than I will ever admit on this cool neck thing. I also fought with the hair a little bit and then I was off to work. 8 hours done. On my breaks, I test out the work in progress using VTube Studio, and then I do a handful of fixes. Part of this involved updating some art and then re-importing it. It's then that I realized a fatal flaw. My model art is not centered. This is very, very bad. I go back into Clip Studio Paint, center it, and then re-import the model into Live 2D Cubism. Everything goes wrong. My break is done, stream is tomorrow, and my eyes have turned into a Lovecraftian nightmare come to haunt me. I don't know what to do. So when I get home, I restart. I create a new model, with the art actually centered this time. I end up copying the eye from the previous one, along with the deformers, and then I try my best to center them with a rotation deformer. And you know what? It does kind of work. At least it works enough for now, so I'll take it. Thankfully, the hair is immensely fun to do now that the model art is working correctly. I have a blast with the physics and I bounce around in my chair full of excitement. It's now 11 PM, I have 7 hours before stream, and I'm ready to do what I actually wanted to do in the first place. It is time for the goth toggle. I finish the art really fast while keeping an eye on the clock and just hoping I can finish in time. Most of the deformers are reused just fine, except with the eyes and mouth. Thankfully, the hair, which is a little bit different, is still close enough to work with the existing rig. First, I tackled the eyes. They now have a line all the way around for the eyeliner, so they look wonky with the deformers I had. I add new deformers for these, and while they are simple, they still work. Then the mouth, which looks completely different. This had to be rebuilt from the ground up. We have a rig! It's 2 AM, 4 hours before stream, and I've kinda got 2 models and they both slightly work. Time to actually create the toggle between them. This works by creating a parameter in Live 2D that makes one visible and the other invisible. They're both tracking at the same time, but only one version is ever seen at once. At least, that's how it's supposed to work. But this is me watching. I missed some layers and gave myself a jump scare when my eyes went possessed. After tracking the many issues I created for myself, I was able to set up Stream Deck on my phone to control the toggle there. Side note, I use a webcam for my tracking. To anyone who wants to get into VTubing but doesn't have like a fancy iPhone or something, please note that is not a requirement. As long as you set up your parameters correctly in VTube Studio, it can still look awesome! About half an hour before stream, I was feeling very confident and prepared. Then I realized the hair on my goth model wasn't clipping correctly. I took the easy way out and just set everything to black. Honestly, I think it looks better this way. I was a stress struggle boss up until the very last minute, but I still somehow made it in time. A lot of stream was spent with me smiling like a maniac and my eyes going wonky since I didn't actually set up the tracking parameters correctly in VTube Studio. Plus, you could still see the hair color during the model change, but we won't talk about that. That said, this was still some of the most fun I've ever had, and I cannot wait to do it again. 22 hours of total rigging time, and the model is still not quite done. Good thing I've still got 2 hours left on this 24-hour clock. Alright, you probably saw this coming, but I'm now checking in at what is closer to the 48-hour mark because I decided to re-rig my model one last time. I think it's working a lot better now, all the parameters are set up correctly, and you can't see the hair during the transition anymore! Yay! Next time I hit a follower goal, I am ready and this should be a piece of cake to edit. If you're creating your own VTuber model, good luck! I hope you have fun! Thanks for watching.